there. Even Brooke, the actual king of rock, said Yuta's voice was out of this world. Sanji was already choreographing his cheerleader moves, while Zoro called him out like, "Bro, you're Wilden," and Sanji promised to squeeze the lemon juice out of him. Then, a massive shadow appeared. The show was about to begin. Yuta finally stepped on stage, and the moment she started singing, the crowd went nuts. Her voice was so heavenly that nobody could stay seated. She moved, danced, sang, absolutely mesmerizing. She tossed her jacket, triggered a light show that looked straight out of Just Dance, and released glowing winged spheres into the air. Pirates and Marines alike were stunned, standing side by side, just vibing. To end her first song, she pointed toward the sky and launched colorful flames that left everyone speechless. The crowd erupted in applause. Some even cried from pure emotion. But not everyone was there to enjoy the show. In the distance, a creepy Frankenstein-looking dude was grinding his teeth while his gang plotted to kidnap Yuta. They figured that'd make them rich and famous. Then suddenly Luffy, our rubber monkey boy, swung onto the stage like Tarzan, and the crooks thought he was part of the plan. But when Yuta looked at him closely, she realized it was Luffy. She ran up and hugged him tight, leaving the entire audience shocked. How the hell did they know each other? Fans in the crowd couldn't believe it. The fifth emperor of the sea knew the world's biggest pop idol. Robin asked if Luffy really knew her, while Sanji got jealous that he never got introduced. Luffy told them to chill, because Yuta was actually Shanks' daughter. The crowd lost it. Everyone was stunned. How could that be true? Especially since Shanks once attacked this very island years ago. Yuta froze for a second, realizing the truth was out. Then a bunch of low-tier pirates started whispering that if she was really Shanks' daughter, she might be his biggest weakness. They tried to rush her, but before they could, the real danger showed up. Charlotte Oven and Brûlé crashed the stage, declaring Yuta their hostage. Brûlé opened a weird portal in her stomach, unleashing a horde of creepy creatures. Helmeppo wanted to step in, but a pink-haired marine told him to wait. Too late. Sanji and Brooke jumped in, saying they wouldn't let those scumbags ruin such a beautiful concert. Zoro sliced through a purple blast, while Brooke scored a perfect strike on another pirate. Even Nami and Chopper joined in to protect Yuta, and Jinbe rode in surfing on a water whale. Frankie sucker-punched Oven, while Luffy flattened the rest with one hit. Robin and Usopp teamed up, ready to finish the fight. But then Yuta raised her hand and told everyone to stop. She thanked the Straw Hats for helping, but said the battle was over. Nami argued that those guys were trying to kidnap her, but Yuta insisted she'd forgive them all if they joined her cause to spread happiness through music. Everyone laughed, thinking she was just being naive. One pirate even pulled a sword on her, but before Luffy could smash him, Yuta told him to chill. They all came here to hear her sing, not fight. But since they were pirates and didn't care, she said, "That's too bad," and began singing again, this time using her powers. Flowers and hearts appeared around everyone. Golden armor formed on her body, and with a single verse, she blasted the pirates away like confetti. She even trapped Oven and Brûlé inside glowing cocoons, putting them right where they belong. The Straw Hats were stunned. Her power and voice together were unreal. The crowd went wild again, and Luffy admitted she'd gotten really strong. Then Yuta took the mic and made a shocking announcement. "This concert will be eternal. The show will never end." The audience screamed with excitement, not realizing she meant that literally. She declared that neither pirates, marines, nor even the world government would stop her, and if they tried, there'd be consequences. Meanwhile, across the world, the five elders were watching the broadcast. They were shocked to learn that Shanks actually had a daughter, and started wondering if she was also part of the mysterious Figureland family. There's even a theory that Shanks could be a descendant of a celestial dragon named Garling Figureland. Could he be a secret noble or the real villain of One Piece? The elders feared something called Tot Musica, saying that if it ever awakened, the world would be doomed. Even Akainu was sweating, while Kizaru joked that Yuta was just a kid. But Akainu told him not to underestimate her, especially since she was on Elegia, the island where Tot Musica was sealed. He ordered the Marines to send every available ship to investigate. Back at the concert, Yuta flew across the sky, handing out food and toys, telling everyone they could eat, dance, and sing freely in her new era. Somehow, she had unlimited supplies. Like, girl, have you seen meat prices lately? Even Big Mom's crew was watching the show, saying they needed to capture Yuta since she was Shanks' daughter. Parasparrow, the creep, said he wanted to lick her up, but Katakuri stepped in, furious and protective of his sister Brûlé. The Straw Hats, meanwhile, were enjoying paradise. Zoro was sipping booze, Nami wanted Yuta to make her some infinite treasure, and Sanji found a weird mushroom and tossed it out. Robin asked Luffy if he knew Yuta's power, and he said she'd always had a killer singing voice, straight up pop star level. Right then, Yuta appeared again, asking if they were having fun. Everyone said this place was paradise, and she smiled, but then told Luffy to take off his ridiculous hat. He got offended, and they started bickering like old times. She challenged him to another one of their childhood competitions. Yuta screamed that she'd beaten him 183 times, but he fired back, saying he was the one who'd won 183 times. Nami realized this was just how they used to act as kids, always turning everything into a competition. So, Yuta challenged Luffy to a fried chicken eating contest. Mid-match, she summoned her father's image, a giant red-haired figure charging at full speed. Luffy Luffy was about to win when she distracted him with a massive cup of juice, then finished her plate and dashed away just in time. The judges declared Yuta the winner, and poor Luffy almost drowned, but she teleported him back, laughing that she'd forgotten he couldn't swim because of his devil fruit. He called her a cheater, but she just grinned and hugged him tight, demanding to know where Shanks was. Luffy said he didn't know, he was just holding on to Shanks' hat for safekeeping. Nami cut in, asking how they even met. That's when Luffy started explaining everything, how she first appeared with Shanks and his crew in his hometown, Fusha Village, 12 years ago. Back then, they were just a couple of wild kids always competing, even over who could eat fried chicken the fastest, until Makino had to step in and stop them before they choked. So, back in the day, Shanks told everyone to chill and let the kids play, because apparently, that was a serious competition. Luffy would always start off strong, but somehow Yuta would pull a sneaky move and win every time. They'd end up headbutting each other, fighting over who was the better pirate, ready to throw hands until Shanks broke it up. Both of them would cling to him like little sloth. Luffy said he wanted to join Shanks' crew too, but the red-haired captain told him he wasn't quite as capable as Yuta when it came to protecting the ship. Of course, Yuta started singing again, celebrating her win and filling the air with peace and joy until everyone fell asleep mid-song. Then Luffy said it was his turn to sing, but he remembered the day Yuta suddenly vanished. Every time Shanks' crew returned to the village, Luffy would wait for them, all excited. One day, they came back looking dead serious. He ran up to ask where Yuta was, but she was nowhere to be found. When he asked Shanks what happened, the captain told him not to worry. Yuta had left the crew to become a world-famous singer. And now, she's basically pulling 20 million streams a day on Spotify. Back in the present, Yuta asked Luffy what he'd been doing with his life. He said, obviously, I became a pirate. She frowned and told him to give that up. Everyone froze. She was serious. She said if everyone just stayed here in her world, they could all live happily ever after. But Luffy didn't care. He was already planning to nap on the sunny. That's when Yuta stomped her foot and said, we're not going anywhere. She meant none of them were. They were all going to stay there forever. Zoro asked if she'd hit her head, and Nami politely said thanks for the invite, but you know, living there forever wasn't really an option. Yuta didn't like that answer. She hit a high note and blasted Nami across the arena. Sanji tried to rush to her, but he got caught too. Yuta then shouted to the crowd that she'd found more pirates trying to ruin the show, and everyone started cheering. She began dancing and singing again, whipping the audience into a frenzy. Zoro didn't care that she was Luffy's childhood friend. He said if she kept this up, he'd cut her down. And I told you she wasn't kidding when she said the concert would last forever, because yeah, she just went full villain mode. Zoro sliced through waves of glowing soldiers, and Jinbe used fishman karate to blow away entire groups, but they just kept coming. Yuta told Luffy he couldn't be a pirate and her friend at the same time, and that he had to give it all up, but Luffy shouted back that he wasn't quitting anything, so Yuta said, fine, then I'll make you. She fired lasers like a DJ light show straight out of a rave, blinding Chopper and Usopp, while summoning even more troops to overwhelm the Straw Hat. Luffy tried to get her to stop, but she just kept singing, the beat dropping harder and harder while her army pushed the crew back. Eventually, she trapped everyone, sealing Luffy inside a glowing cocoon. With the Straw Hats captured, she announced to the audience that she'd never let Luffy become the Pirate King. Then she asked the crowd what they thought about pirates like him, and of course, everyone hated them. They blamed pirates for their pain, their losses, their misery. Usopp tried to reason with her, saying Luffy wasn't like that, but it was too late. She hit Luffy with a wave of seawater, draining his strength and knocking him out cold. Helmeppo wanted to go take her down, but Kobe told him to stand down. They had to prepare for what was coming next. Even Bartolomeo showed up, using his barrier to protect Luffy, but admitted that Yuta was way too powerful to beat head-on. Yuta laughed at them, until suddenly, she realized they were gone. In their place was a giant stone block. You already know what that means. Room. Shambles. Law had teleported them out of there. Yuta was furious, realizing there were other pirates hiding among the crowd. Law had warped them onto a bridge, where Bartolomeo started teasing him, saying he was just watching the concert because he liked K-pop. Law said, hell no, I'm just keeping an eye on her because she's dangerous. He warned them that if they didn't figure out Yuta's ability soon, they were screwed. Luffy just grinned, saying, relax, I've already beaten her 184 times. But speak of the devil, Yuta suddenly appeared above them again. They tried to run. She summoned a floating circus to chase them down. Meanwhile, Kobe and another sword agent were undercover in the crowd, realizing their Den mushy signals weren't working. Even CP0 was after Yuta now, and everyone was scrambling. Bartolomeo crashed headfirst into a wall while carrying Luffy, and Law told them to hurry up and run. Soldiers were flying everywhere across the island, and that Frankenstein-looking guy from earlier showed up again, telling them to hide in his house. That man was Gordon, the former king of Elegia. Bartolomeo was shocked. He thought nobody even lived there. Law explained that Elegia used to be the greatest musical kingdom in the world, until it was attacked by a powerful pirate and wiped out completely. Gordon said he was the one who raised Yuta. The two of them were the only survivors of that tragedy. She used to sing to bring comfort to people, and Gordon encouraged her to become the greatest singer in the world. But 2 years ago, she discovered a new kind of Den mushy that let her broadcast her voice across the globe. She gained millions of fans, but also saw how broken and violent the world was because of pirates. That's when she decided to change everything. Gordon begged Luffy to stop her, to end this madness before it was too late. Right then Bepo, yes, the polar bear, turned into a baby. Yuta showed up again, asking Gordon why he was hanging around with pirates. Luffy asked her why she ever left Shanks' crew if she'd wanted so badly to be their shining star. That hit a nerve. She snapped, told him to shut up, and unleashed a huge gust of wind that knocked Gordon down. She grabbed Luffy's hat, Shanks' hat, and told him to forget about his dream of becoming Pirate King. She said he should stay by her side forever instead. Of course, Luffy refused. So she said that was fine, the new era didn't need trash like him anyway. She was about to finish them off when Law teleported everyone away again. Furious, Yuta challenged them to a new game. Whoever found the pirates first would win. Luffy yelled at Law to let him go, he needed to get his hat back, but Law said there was no time for that. The Marines and CP agents were already surrounding the area, trying to learn how Yuta's powers worked. As they ran, Law suddenly stopped, distracted, and Bartolomeo tripped, sending both of them tumbling down a hill, bouncing through the streets until they ended up hiding near the harbor. Meanwhile, Yuta confronted Gordon inside an old chapel, asking if he'd help her carry out her grand plan. Gordon refused, saying the Marines and the government would never allow it. So she pinned him against the wall and told him it didn't matter. She had something even greater, the ancient sheet music of Tot Musica, a song so dangerous it could destroy the world. Back at the port, Luffy and Bartolomeo were freaking out because the Sunny wasn't there, until a little lion cub popped up, claiming to be the Sunny. The thing looked like a Pokemon, and Luffy lost his mind. At that same time, 10,000 Marine troops were arriving at Elegia, searching for enemies. But when Vice Admiral Momonga reached the concert grounds, he found everyone passed out cold. Pirates, Marines, civilians, all asleep. Yuta appeared before them, saying they weren't dead, just sleeping, but they'd never wake up again. If anyone tried to kill her, their souls would vanish forever. Fujitora stepped forward, saying he knew exactly how her devil fruit worked. She was relieved, no need to explain. Then one of the Marines asked about the strange smell. Yuta revealed she'd eaten a special awakening mushroom, a fungus that keeps you awake indefinitely, until it kills you. Yeah, she was literally planning to die, taking the whole world into eternal sleep with her. She said the soul mattered more than the body, and that in her new world, everyone would be happy forever. The Marines tried putting on earphones to block her singing, but she laughed, saying it was too late. Kobe and Helmeppo came flying in to help, but everyone was already under her control, moving like sleepwalkers. Yuta called on her fans to defend her paradise and attack the Marines. Fujitora warned not to hurt the civilians, they were just being controlled, but those same people started ripping off their headphones, cheering for Yuta, and attacking the soldiers. Her voice echoed across the island like a spell, and even Fujitora, the guy who said not to hurt anyone, started swinging his sword in confusion. And honestly? You can say what you want, but her singing was crazy good. Even I'd probably be hypnotized by that performance. So if you don't want to get caught by the siren song, go ahead and drop a like right now, maybe it'll save you later. Back in the dream world, Fujitora was almost ambushed from behind by Blueno, and Vice Admiral Momonga was getting wrecked by Law in his sleep. Inside Yuta's new era, Sanji couldn't break free no matter how hard he tried. Zoro roasted him, calling him a disgrace, but then immediately got stuck himself, like a fly in a web. Brook said he was almost there, and everyone got their hopes up, but turns out, what he was about to see was Nami's underwear. Typical Brook. Robin, being the only one using her brain, remembered Yuta mentioning a song she'd written. Brook said the music sheet really did look like it formed an actual melody, so Robin asked if he could sing it. But he couldn't read the whole thing. Since, his attention was focused somewhere else entirely. That's when Kobe showed up with Blueno, saying only the Straw Hats could have figured out the secret behind the sheet music. He quickly wrote it down and handed it to Brook, telling him to sing it. As Brook's voice echoed through the air, Nami and Sanji finally managed to break free. Oven begged the Marines to release his sister Brule, but Helmeppo said that would only happen if they cooperated. Meanwhile, the old Frankenstein-looking guy Gordon taught Mini Beepo how to sing, helping him slip free from Yuta's magic too. Luffy was still safe inside Bartolomeo's barrier bubble, while Kobe reached them through one of Blueno's portals. Law immediately sensed something was off. Why were the Marines and CP0 working together? Kobe explained that everyone was after the same goal, to understand Yuta's powers. Then he dropped the truth bomb: this world wasn't real. It was a world of imagination, created entirely by Yuta's mind. Basically, everyone was trapped inside a shared dream. Luffy remembered her mentioning that ability before, and Bartolomeo freaked out that he hadn't told them earlier. The only way to weaken Yuta's power enough to escape was to make her fall asleep. The problem? That cursed mushroom she ate made it impossible for her to sleep, and eventually, it would kill her. Law asked if that meant they'd be free once she died, but Kobe said it was the opposite. If Yuta's body gave out, everyone would be trapped here forever. Luffy asked if Kobe had any plan to stop her. Kobe admitted he didn't. He'd infiltrated the dream world just to find a weakness, but hadn't found one yet. That's why he was gathering every ally he could. Meanwhile, Chopper was doing networking with the local rats, literally, and found out there were old records in a hidden library that might explain what happened on this island years ago. Law asked how long Yuta had left, and Blueno said less than 2 hours. The Straw Hats entered the secret library and were immediately attacked by 3 creepy animatronic monsters. Zoro unleashed his Santoryu, Sanji lit up with Diable Jam, and Frankie landed a huge punch that shook the whole place. Brook and Jinbe fought off enemies on the other side while Nami shouted at Robin to hurry and find the book. Robin looked up and saw ancient murals. They seemed to be the key to everything. Meanwhile, Khalifa, one of CP0's agents, said Yuta had maybe an hour left to live. Even the Den Den Mushies had their souls taken. They couldn't turn off the sound anymore. That meant Yuta's song would soon broadcast across the entire world, and anyone who heard it would be dragged into her dream world too. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. Across the globe, people were being pulled into the music. One of the Gorosei said that if things kept going this way, 70% of the world's population would be trapped. Humanity was on the brink of extinction. Then, at Yuta's concert, St. Charlos, yeah, that celestial dragon clown, showed up, saying he loved her performance and wanted to buy her for 1 billion berries. The crowd dropped to their knees the moment they saw a world noble. But Yuta looked him dead in the eye and said, "So you're one of the celestial dragons, the scum who think they own the world and enslave people." She told him she wasn't going anywhere with him. Charlos ordered his guards to open fire, but their bullets were useless. Then another celestial dragon taught them how to shoot properly, which didn't end any better. Yuta panicked, trying to protect everyone from the chaos. Charlos ordered the Marines to arrest her immediately. Yuta declared that in her new era, celestial dragons and slaves would have equal rights. That line made Charlos lose his mind. He told his guards to make her suffer. But those same guards whom she just saved had no chance against her. She trapped them all and even knocked Charlos out cold, saving a special seat just for him. The audience went wild, half cheering, half terrified. They warned her that the world government would come for her now. Yuta told them not to worry, but one kid stood up, saying he had to go home before his mom killed him. He thanked Yuta for the great show, but that only made her furious. Why would he ever want to go back to that miserable life? She asked if anyone had seen the pirates she'd captured, and that's when Kobe showed up, ready to end the madness. He was practically as famous as Yuta, known as the hero who saved everyone during the Rocky Port incident. He told the crowd the truth: this world isn't real. They'd all been deceived. A little girl asked if that was true, and Yuta quickly cut in, saying, "Of course not. I'm just leading you all to eternal happiness." She claimed this world was perfect. No pain, no sickness, no pirates, no responsibilities at all. Some people actually liked the sound of that, especially when she said nobody had to work or study here. Honestly, I get it. Free food, no bills, I'd probably stay too. But most people weren't having it. They said they couldn't live in a dream forever. Yuta pouted, saying they needed to lighten up, then snapped her fingers, turning her fans into toys and stuffed animals, even transforming that same little kid into a plush cat. All this chaos was unfolding while the world government did nothing. But the second a celestial dragon got smacked around, the 5 elders panicked. Kobe and Blueno barely escaped, while Oven's crew said they'd rather die than team up with the Straw Hats. Everyone else escaped through Brule's mirror portal, planning to stop Yuta their way. Luffy asked where his crew was, but they hadn't rejoined him yet. Back in the library, Usopp fired burning shots to light up the ceiling so Robin could read the symbols. Chopper karate kicked his way through debris, while Nami used her Mirage Tempo to turn invisible. Sanji and Zoro were destroying animatronics left and right, and Brook dropped a yo-ho-ho-ho. Chill out. Before freezing 3 of them at once. Jinbe launched Frankie like a cannonball, blowing the place to bits, literally. The whole building started collapsing. Zoro yelled, "Who was the idiot that overdid it?" And Frankie sheepishly apologized. Everyone started running, but it was already too late. Nami screamed through the mirror, begging Brule to let them through, saying they'd never see their families again otherwise. Brule appeared, asking if that included her brother Katakuri, and Nami was like, "Yeah, about that," right before the whole place came crashing down. Meanwhile, Yuta was walking along a rainbow bridge when the Straw Hats finally regrouped. Zoro pointed at Sunny and asked what the hell that thing was. Luffy said it was the Sunny, their ship. Frankie muttered, "Man, that model's outdated already." Back to business. Kobe asked Robin if she'd found any way to free everyone. Robin explained that according to the records, there was a way to escape the dream world, but only if Yuta used the Tot Musica. The Demon King of Songs appeared in both the dream world and the real one at the same time. If it could be attacked from both sides simultaneously, the portal between worlds could collapse, ending Yuta's realm for good. The catch? Someone in the real world would have to attack it too, but since everyone was trapped inside, that seemed impossible. The Marines couldn't strike either, since Yuta was using civilians as hostages. That's when Gordon said there was one man who might be able to do it, Shanks. Everyone was shocked. Luffy demanded to know what had really happened between Yuta and Shanks, but Gordon stayed silent. Furious, Luffy decided to ask Yuta himself. They didn't know how they were going to take down this Demon King, but Zoro summed it up best: we just keep hitting it until it goes down, and pray someone else does the same in the real world. Genius level strategy, right? So yeah, it was decided, they were going to throw hands with the Demon King of Songs. Luffy found Yuta standing on a glowing lake, like she was walking on water. She teased him, saying he came back just to lose again. He told her they'd settle this with one final challenge, just like the old days. She summoned an army of soldiers, but Luffy tore through them with ease, sending them flying. Then she caught him off guard and asked why he wanted so badly to become Pirate King. Luffy answered simply, because I want to create a new era. That made Yuta snap. She screamed that she was the one who would create a new era, and that the Great Pirate Era, which began with Roger's execution, would end with Luffy's. Then that jealous diva starts tearing up Luffy's straw hat. He freaks out, yelling that she used to love Shanks and his crew. So why does she hate pirates now? Yuta snaps back, saying it's all Shanks' fault. To her, he was like a father. She really thought they were a family, until they left her behind in Elegia. Luffy insists that Shanks only did that so she could follow her dream and become a singer, but she screams that's a lie. That's when she reveals the truth, what really went down. She'd gone to Elegia to perform, and everyone there was blown away by her voice. Gordon fell in love with her talent and told her she could study music there with real masters. That night, Shanks asked if she didn't enjoy singing to huge crowds more than just the red hair crew. But Yuta told him that didn't matter, she just wanted to stay with them. Shanks sighed and told her that peace and equality don't exist in this world, but her voice could bring joy to everyone. He said she could stay in Elegia and that he'd come back for her when she became the greatest singer in the world. But Yuta didn't want to be left behind, she wanted to keep sailing with her family. So Shanks said fine, they'd set sail the next morning. But that same night, Yuta woke up to chaos, everything was burning. She ran to Gordon, demanding to know where Shanks was, but Gordon screamed that everything had been stolen and the town destroyed. He told her the red hair pirates had used her performance as a distraction to steal Elegia's treasure. Yuta was devastated. She ran to the shore, screaming for Shanks not to leave her, but Gordon held her back as she watched the Marines attack and Shanks' ship sailing away with the treasure. The next day, the world heard the news. Shanks the red hair had destroyed Elegia. Luffy yells that Shanks would never do that, and deep down, Yuta knows it too. But she swears she saw it happen with her own eyes. She accuses Luffy of being nothing more than another tool for Shanks. But Luffy shouts that Shanks will come back for her, because this whole mess started with her. She starts crying, saying Shanks abandoned her and he's never coming back. Then in the real world, she's about to stab herself, when suddenly, guess who shows up? That's right, Shanks himself, standing in the rain with his entire crew, saying he came to hear her sing one last time. Yuta breaks down in tears. Then snaps again, grinning like she just escaped the asylum. She says it's perfect timing, because her fans around the world are about to start a new era. Before that, though, she wants to settle things with him. She summons her army of servants to destroy the worst pirate of all time, but things don't exactly go her way. Luffy says, so Shanks finally showed up, and just as he does, Kobe arrives with a squad of pirates to ambush Yuta. She summons her creepy knights, and Robin tries to grab her, but it doesn't work. Then, Yuta pulls her trump card, starts singing, trying to wipe everyone out with her voice. But Blueno opens a portal, and the crew tackles her through it. Law teleports her into Bartolomeo's barrier bubble, trapping her inside so her voice can't get out. She just smiles that crazy smile again. Meanwhile, Shanks' crew refuses to hurt any hypnotized civilians. They're getting beat up for nothing. Then, someone shoots one of Shanks' men, and Yuta panics. But this isn't the dream world anymore, she can't heal them here. The Marines were the ones firing, following Akainu's orders. He coldly says it doesn't matter if some civilians die, they'll stop Yuta to save the world. Beckman asks what kind of justice that is, and Kizaru replies, there's no justice without sacrifice. Even he admits it's terrible to sacrifice millions just to stop one girl, but says they have no other choice. He blasts dozens of light orbs down, but Shanks cuts through all of them like nothing, forcing Kizaru to retreat. Fujitora draws his blade, saying they can't back down now, the whole world depends on this. The red hair crew refuses to step aside. Meanwhile, in the dream world, Sanji realizes what's happening. Yuta ate that cursed awakening mushroom, so not only can't she sleep, she's going full-on insane. Everyone's outfits change anime power-up style, and Yuta says she should have wiped out all the bad people sooner, but now it's too late for mercy. She activates Tot Musica, shattering Bartolomeo's unbreakable barrier. A red light fills the sky, and Kizaru says they can ditch the earplugs now, because she's summoning none other than the Demon King of Song. And man, this thing is nightmare fuel. I was expecting a demonic monster from another world, but it looks more like a creepy jester with a long nose. Shanks tries to strike him down, but the thing doesn't even flinch. Yuta sprouts black wings as she belts out a rock anthem straight from hell. In the dream world, everyone tries attacking the monster, but they all get swatted away, only Luffy stands his ground. The Gorosei are watching everything live on their screens, completely helpless, because the Demon King's power now links both worlds. The fans, now turned into toys, beg Yuta to stop, it's not fun anymore. Luffy finally launches himself at the beast, hitting it with a flurry of punches while Yuta keeps singing non-stop. The Straw Hats are giving it everything they've got, but her army just keeps spawning. Oven's throwing fire, Jinbe's landing huge combos, even Zeus is blasting lightning, but nothing's working. Usopp yells that Yuta's voice should be saving people, not destroying them, and the Straw Hats promise to handle the Demon King while Luffy deals with her. Luffy climbs the monster's body, dodging shots, and begs Yuta to listen, but she refuses, saying she'll never hear a word from a pirate. She hurls a spear at him to finish him off, but at the last second, Gordon jumps in to take the hit. He tells her he can't let her hurt her friend. She yells that he believes in Shanks, but Gordon finally tells her the truth. 12 years ago, it wasn't Shanks who destroyed Elegia, it was Tot Musica itself. He apologizes for never telling her the truth, explaining that during that performance years ago, her singing awakened the sealed song hidden beneath the castle. Without meaning to, she activated Tot Musica through her own devil fruit, the Yuta Yuta no Mi, yeah, kind of a lame name, right? The Demon King took control of her powers and annihilated everyone on the island. The Red Hair Pirates were the only ones who managed to stop her, but since she was just a child, she passed out after losing all her energy. Shanks told Gordon not to tell her the truth, it would destroy her. Instead, Gordon took the blame, claiming the Red Hairs were behind it. Shanks told him to say that for her sake, to protect her dream. Before leaving, Shanks told Gordon to raise Yuta to become the greatest singer in the world, and said that no matter how far apart they were, she'd always be his precious daughter. They said goodbye with smiles through tears, just like the Straw Hats did with Vivi. After hearing everything, Luffy lights up, saying he knew Shanks would never do something like that. He runs to talk to Yuta, but gets riddled with bullets. He looks at her hand and sees the drawing he made for her when they were kids, of Shanks' hat. He tells her that's what it means to be free. She tries to punch him, but he blocks it, telling her she knows better than anyone that this isn't freedom. She starts crying as the dark energy around her goes out of control. The Demon King reveals his true form, unleashing chaos everywhere. The fans are mindless, the Marines are shooting civilians, and even Kizaru gets a gun shoved in his face. The tables have completely turned. Pirates are now protecting civilians, while the Navy's the one doing the killing. Bro, this guy literally caught a stray bullet midair, that's how wild things got. They had to defeat that Demon King no matter what. But then, Yuta's fans started turning on her, saying it was all her fault and that everyone was paying for her sins. Yuta just told everyone to shut up, she already knew. A year after she became a singer, she got a D mushroom that recorded the whole incident. When she realized it really was her fault, she said there was no turning back, the world needed to hear her voice. So even knowing the truth, she went through with her plan to create a new era, blaming everything on the pirates. Brew was about to get taken down by the guards, but S jumped in to save her. My man was totally down bad. He said he'd never let that fine lady get hurt. Guess he knew his time was running out, so he started blasting like crazy. Even though, let's be real, that which wasn't exactly a 10. Meanwhile, Robin and Nami were about to kick off the big plan. Looked like a storm of candy and toys flying everywhere. But nah, those were the fans turned into Mirror World puppets by the witch Valia. Chopper and Gordon were protecting Luffy, while Usopp, Brook, and Sanji held the line. There was only space for one attacker, and you already know who that is. Usopp stepped up to fight that little demon punk. Frankie fired missiles to clear the path, and Nami and Zeus shocked those night clowns into submission. Gordon apologized to Yuta, saying it was all his fault, that he didn't deserve to live, blah blah. But Usopp told him to man up and face it. He said his own dad left and never came back, but the big zombie still stayed loyal to Yuta even after she destroyed his kingdom. That guy was a real one. After a long nap, Luffy finally woke up, ready to throw hands again. Gordon said Yuta's voice had the power to bring happiness to the whole world and begged Luffy to save her. And that's exactly what Luffy was about to do. He went full gorilla mode, but time was running out. If they didn't act fast, Yuta would be gone forever, and they'd be trapped there for good. Shanks joined the fight, going all in, and Katakuri took down all the knights. He said they needed a synchronized strike, same spot, same time. Inside Yuta's world, Biscuit Boy Katakuri used his observation haki to see everything his sister saw. He knew exactly where to hit. But Shanks told him to chill, he wasn't the only one with observation haki. Then, Luffy and Shanks both launched a massive hit in the same spot, almost breaking the barrier between worlds. Zoro used his sword like a trampoline, slicing the demon up with a Santoryu special. Usopp, using his haki, managed to connect with his dad Yasopp, who told him he was late but now finally ready. They synced perfectly, seeing what each other saw, father and son fighting side by side for the first time since Usopp was just a kid. Everyone attacked the demon's right leg, boom, gone. Then the left arm, gone. Dude was falling apart, looking like a cursed scarecrow. Katakuri and Sanji smashed the left leg, while Nami and Brook wrecked his stomach. Finally, with that perfect teamwork, Luffy and Shanks, the real heroes of this story, charged up for one last hit. As they attacked, Shanks remembered the day he found baby Yuta crying inside a treasure chest. He sang to calm her down, just like Roger and Rayleigh once took care of him. He knew this was destiny. The two unleashed everything they had. Luffy even awakened his Gear 5, and together they obliterated that Tot Musica demon off the face of the earth. Yuta apologized to Shanks, but time was running out. He told her to take the medicine and sleep, they could still save her. She started mumbling nonsense, and Shanks yelled for her to drink it. Katakuri was confused. They beat the demon, but everyone's souls were still trapped. Yuta begged them to stop, but it was too late. Tot Musica had already taken control of everyone's souls. Shanks told her again to take the medicine, but she threw it away.